The Sound of Bleeding Gums is the 17th episode of the 33rd season of The Simpsons. This is directed by Chris Clements, and I didn't really like this episode. I think partly that's just because I'm not a big fan of jazz music. I'm not a big fan of music in general, so that part of it didn't appeal to me, although I do love the fact that it's saying that, music is important and that you shouldn't steal people's music without their permission, as this happens when the lottery is using a song from Bleeding Gums Murphy, and Lisa is outraged. And then she ends up discovering that he had a son, and she meets his son, and she tries to help him in a way that she can, and I won't say any more than that. But to be honest, there's not much else that I want to say. It's not the most interesting episode. There's nothing wrong with it as such. I can't say that the narrative was badly developed. It's definitely not badly animated. But there was just nothing about it that really appealed to me, and there was nothing that I found interesting or funny or fascinating. It didn't speak to me on any level. I did think that maybe that was just a me thing and that it would actually have been well received, but honestly, it seems to have been not the best received. Certainly on IMDb, it's got 5.9 out of 10 across 643 reviews and ratings, which is not the best rating. I've read a few reviews here and there, and it doesn't seem to be the best received. And I thought it was just because I'm not a big fan of music and it's not something that spoke to me. I don't know. I think maybe it will appeal to some people, but certainly not to me. I'd love to know what you think of it, if it's something that worked well, particularly if you're a fan of Bleeding Gums in general. I don't dislike the character, but I've never been that bothered. Although the most iconic Bleeding Gums Murphy episode, the most emotional one, I did think was very well done. But this one, The Sound of Bleeding Gums, I like the important message about not taking people's music and amending it for profit. But Lisa does find out some interesting things about what happened with that song and Bleeding Gums' rights to his music. It's fine. It's interesting enough. I think you'll like it more than I did if you care more about music than I do. It's not a bad episode as such, but it doesn't really appeal to me.